So after doing some hardcore Nuzlockes using Ash's terrible teams, I decided that it was time to finally try a proper hardcore Nuzlocke in LeafGreen. Well, what better way to start than using only grass types in a region loaded with poison types? Yeah, this is gonna be fun. The rules are simple. If a Pokemon faints, I can't use it in battle. I can only catch the first grass type on any route, and there is a level cap set to the gym leader's strongest Pokemon. I think that most of the game will be pretty easy since grass types do pretty well for the early game, but the final few battles are gonna be really difficult and scary. I think status moves will be my best friend here. Oh yeah, and I'm not gonna be using items in battle either since that would make the run way too easy. Alright, one attempt, no resets, let's do this. Okay, so I'm not gonna lie, I didn't do a ton of research before starting this challenge, and well, I'm realizing a huge problem we're gonna have. So take a guess at how many fully evolved grass types there are in LeafGreen, just based on your memory. 7? 8? Maybe 9? How about just 5? Yeah, I'm not even gonna have a full team for the Elite Four. In other words, I have to preserve my team throughout the entire run. One mistake can mean losing the entire run. This is gonna be really scary. What isn't gonna be so scary though is Brock. It's funny how much of a joke he is with Bulbasaur or Squirtle compared to Charmander. Like seriously, whose idea was it to make both Geodude and Onix rock and ground? Anyway, in Mount Moon, I got my second member, Paris. It doesn't learn any grass attacks by level up until level 51, but you do get the TM for Bullet Seed, so it's not really a problem. Honestly, it's probably just going to be used as a disruptor later on since it's really slow and it's pretty bad. I'm not sure if it's going to survive that long though. After some uneventful traveling, it's time for Rival 2, and I was scared. Paris won't be very useful since it's 4 times weak to flying and fire moves, so Ivysaur is going to have to carry the entire fight. Thankfully, it has Sleep Powder and a Leech Seed, which is a pretty deadly combo, so with some good luck, I managed to take them out pretty easily. Then for Abra and Rattata, I just used Paris to give it some experience. Nugget Bridge wasn't too bad, although Paris did almost faint a couple times. Luckily, I made him just in time to catch a Bellsprout. This patch of grass is actually a godsend since both Paris and Ivysaur were getting dangerously close to Misty's level cap. So now with Bellsprout, I can spread out the experience. Alright, I'm gonna train it to level 21 and have it evolve, and then we'll probably destroy Misty. And yeah, Misty was a complete joke. Staryu just went for Harden for some reason, and while Starmie did put up a bit of a fight, I was never in any danger of losing anyone. Right after that, we fight the Rocket Grunt outside of Cerulean and get the TM for Dig. This is great since Paris conveniently can learn this move. Even more conveniently, Paris evolves at level 24, which is Surge's level cap. Okay, time for Rival 3. I lead with Ivysaur and do my usual tactic of putting him to sleep, seeding him, then spamming Razor Leaf, which is actually stronger than Tackle due to stab. For Charmeleon, I put it to sleep, try using Weepin' Bell, but I fall to just 2 HP once he wakes up. Well, that's not good. He thankfully just goes for Metal Claw when I switch back, so I put him to sleep, then take him out. I switch to Paris for Kadabra and paralyze him, but I forget that he has Synchronize, which is just fantastic. Still, I have Leech Life, so he was easy. So Surge ended up being way more annoying than I thought he would be. Parasect has only 30 base speed, so I'm getting outsped by all of his members. Voltorb and Pikachu went down easily, but Raichu was really annoying. I used Stun Spore, but I forgot that he has a full heal, so it was kind of useless. I hit with Dig, but it didn't one-shot, and then after that, he decides to spam Double Team over and over again. Wow, this guy is so smart by spamming Double Team. I then spent quite a lot of extra time having to chip him down with a Weepin' Bell. Now that we're heading to Celadon, I think it's a good time to look at the road ahead. So like I mentioned earlier, there are only 5 Pokemon I can use on this team, and since this is a hardcore Nuzlocke, that basically means I only have 5 lives. I need to be really careful with how I play, especially for the later parts of this game, since we're gonna start having big problems once we get to Silph Co. I'm not too worried about the Erica or Rival fights since they're probably gonna be really easy, but I'm really worried about how future gyms like Sabrina and Blaine will go. But I think there's a strategy. Okay, Erica time. I evolved Weepin' Bell since there's really no reason for me to be keeping it as a Weepin' Bell since its good moves are through TMs. I just put her Victory Bell to sleep and take it out with a few secret powers. Second is Tangela, so I switch to Parasect to try to give it some more experience, but I get poisoned before taking her out. Last is Vileplume, so I use my new Spore to guarantee putting her to sleep as she hits hard with acid, and then I go back to Victory Bell and whittle her down. And now we have the Rocket Hideout. You'd think that this part of the game would be pretty difficult, but since most grass types are also part poison, they can't poison us. And plus, they're using really weak Pokemon. What's really cool though is that the level cap is now level 43, which gives us a lot of wiggle room. The only problem is that both Koga and Sabrina have the same level cap, so I'll need to fight Koga underleveled. I say that as if I'm not already always underleveled in team playthroughs. Anyway, Giovanni was easy as he always is, although his Kangaskhan definitely could have caused some big issues had he just used physical moves instead. It seems like he spams a million tail whips just to use Bite, a special move. Well, thanks for the fake anxiety. On to Rival 4 now, and he could have been really scary. I taught Victory Bell return for more power, but I make the genius play of using Vine Whip at the start so he gets in his sand attack. That sets the precedent for basically pretty much the rest of the battle, as I miss Sleep Powder on Execute, so I need to switch to Parasect to use Spore, and then two-shot it with Leech Life. Then, for Charmeleon, I send out Ivysaur and I miss Sleep Powder over and over again as he spams Smokescreen. After almost fainting, I just switched to Victory Bell and finally put the stupid thing to sleep, then finished the fight. If his Pokemon were higher leveled, this could have gone way worse. Now that I think about it, what am I gonna do for Rival 5? Like, he has a Charizard and Pidgeot. The Pokemon Tower is kind of annoying since the trainers all use Ghastly and Haunter, which are part poison, but thankfully they use Curse a lot of the time, so they often end up just taking themselves out. They also give special attack EVs, so that should definitely help out Ivysaur. Speaking of which, on the way to the top, he evolves. This should be a much needed power boost. Alright, let's finally catch our 4th team member. Things have been pretty stale, with just 3 members. In the Safari Zone, I catch Execute. I think it'll definitely be a star player given that it can disrupt the enemy with status moves and also hit really hard with grass and psychic attacks. And while it is slow, I can fix that with Sunny Day, making Chlorophyll activate and boost its speed. Alright, let's destroy Koga. After evolving Execute and training it up, I was able to one-shot sweep his entire team with just Psychic. I somehow outsped every single one of his Pokemon, so besides Muck, none of them stood a chance. Well, that's not too big of a surprise. So, as you saw, I intentionally stayed underleveled for the Koga fight since I knew that Executor would be a star player for the second Giovanni fight and for the Sabrina fight to set up Sunny Day and Sleep Powder. My team is still mostly in the late 30s since, remember, I can't go past the gym leader's level cap. Okay, I'll take these guys out and we'll see how the rival goes, although I'm a little worried. So yeah, I was incredibly scared for this fight since now he has a Pidgeot and Charizard. I start as usual by putting Pidgeot to sleep, seeding it then whittling it down. For Execute, I put it to sleep, switch to Executor, and it thankfully doesn't wake up. Now for Gyarados, what I do is use Psychic, then put it to sleep and use Light Screen and Sunny Day. I need this to be able to tank Charizard's hits and outspeed it with Chlorophyll. Now for Charizard, I'm faster, so I put it to sleep, and thank God it never wakes up as I two-shot it with Psychic. Last is Alakazam, but I just put it to sleep and use one return to finish the fight. And now we're at the second Giovanni fight. I one-shot Nidorino with one Psychic, then I put Nidoqueen to sleep and set up Sunny Day to outspeed. I take it out and third is Kangaskhan, and of course it uses Fake Out first turn to do some damage, but I do manage to get in some good damage before having to switch to Venusaur. I put it to sleep, use Razor Leaf, and of course it survives on 1 HP. Thankfully he can't heal, so I just take it out the next turn. So now we just have a Rhyhorn, but it's another easy one-shot. Yeah, I'm gonna need to get to level 43 for Sabrina. There's no way I can win at this low of a level. Time for Sabrina. I lead with Executor and put Kadabra to sleep, and now I set up Light Screen and Sunny Day. I absolutely need this to be able to outspeed her Alakazam because otherwise she would just one-shot me. I switch to Victory Bell and take out her Kadabra and Mr. Mime with one return each, and the sun is thankfully still up for Alakazam, so I outspeed and one-shot her. Last is Venomoth, and she did make this a bit annoying by spamming Hyper Potions and confusing me, but I was never in any danger. After winning, I fly back to Palatown to catch my final member, Tangela. It has surprisingly good physical bulk and special attack and gets the rare move Tickle at level 46, lowering attack and defense. But even still, I doubt it'll be all that useful since it's pretty slow. What I am sure about though is that I'm gonna absolutely need to be at the level cap for Blaine because he's, you know, a fire type gym leader and I'm using only grass types. Again, I'm really scared about this fight. Thankfully, the Seafoam Islands contains a lot of water type Pokemon to get easy EXP. Okay, time for Blaine. My strategy is to use Executor to take down his first 3 Pokemon. However, for Ponyta, I have to put it to sleep, then use Light Screen so that I can take a Fire Blast from Rapidash since it allowed speed. It thankfully doesn't wake up, so now I'm at Rapidash with full HP, which is the best case scenario. Unfortunately, it burns me with its first hit, so yay! I have to switch to Venusaur as he heals again, and it thankfully misses Fire Blast, so I make it to Arcanine with full health, but I'm still scared. I surprisingly outspeed and am able to put it to sleep before it can do anything, which is huge. I seed it, then have to slowly whittle it down with the Razor Leaf as it stays asleep for just long enough for me to survive, with just 12 HP by the time I win. Oh my god, that was way too close. If he had woken up, I don't know what I would have done. What won't be close though is the final Giovanni fight. I just use Sunny Day, then completely obliterate his entire team. Well, that wasn't too surprising. But while Giovanni was a complete joke, I know for a fact that Rival 6 won't be. His team is a lot stronger than it was in Silph Co, and he has a level 53 Charizard that will for sure be able to one-shot most of my team at this level. So I decided to grind again in Seafoam Islands just to be safe. Remember, I only have 5 Pokemon I can ever use, so saving each member is needed to win. Now, technically the level cap is 60 since I'd be in the 8th gym, but I thought that would be too OP, so I just decided to grind to level 53. Alright, let's see how it goes. I start by putting Pidgeot to sleep and then I set up the Sun to outspeed Charizard. I take Pidgeot out and he conveniently sends out Charizard, so I put it to sleep and use Psychic and oh, it's a crit. Well, to be honest, I probably still would have been able to take it out without a crit had it stayed asleep. Anyway, third is Execute, so I just put it to sleep and used 2 Psychics. For Rhyhorn, I put it to sleep and then set up the Sun again to make Solar Beam a 1-turn move and to be faster. I one-shot it and I try Solar Beam on Gyarados, but it's not quite a one-shot. Thankfully, it just goes for Rain Dance, so I set up the Sun again and take it out. Last is Alakazam, but it's an easy one-shot with Solar Beam. Wow, this went way better than I expected. After that, I spent a couple of hours grinding the team up to the final level cap, level 60. Again, I need to play extremely cautiously because I don't have a full team of 6, and the grass type is pretty bad. Even at this high of a level, I'm honestly not even sure if I can win, but we've made it this far, so let's just try. 1 attempt, no resets. Let's do this. First is Lorelei. I start by putting Dugong to sleep and then I use 2 growths to double my special attack. Then I start sweeping with Giga Drain, which is able to one-shot Dugong, Slowbro, and surprisingly even Lapras. But then out comes Jinx and it survives the Giga Drain. Thankfully, it misses Lovely Kiss, which lets me continue attacking. Interestingly, Return is still a range despite her having base 35 defense, and I'm level 60. I get the range I need though eventually, and last is Cloyster. I used Return first knowing that she used Protect, but then she uses it the very next turn and it doesn't fail. So now I'm out of Giga Drains. Not a problem though, as I just switched to Venusaur and use 1 Razor Leaf. Second is Bruno, but he's a fighting type specialist and I have a strong psychic type. Notice that I replaced Psychic with Dream Eater. This seems risky, but if you think about it, I'm gonna be putting most of my opponents to sleep with Executor anyway, so I think that having that extra 10 power and being able to heal is worth it. I had some pretty bad luck with this fight as I kept missing Sleep Powder, but I was never in any danger of fainting. And Agatha goes the exact same way. All of her Pokemon are poison types, so all I had to do was set up Sunny Day, put them to sleep, and just one-shot them all with Dream Eater. I have a feeling this might not work great for Lance though. I don't know, we'll see. Okay, so I really hate to say this, but you're just gonna have to take my word for it, and I'm genuinely mad that I even have to do this. But believe it or not, while I was getting ready to record the footage for the champion fight, I accidentally overwrote the Lance footage. Now, you may have seen me do this occasionally in gym fights, but this is the first time I've done this with an Elite 4 fight. And of course, I also saved right after beating him, so now I'm gonna have to just retell how it went. So I led with Venusaur to Leech Seed Gyarados and put it to sleep, and then I just took it out with a few Razor Leaves. I was worried about Aerodactyl, but its wing attacks did less than half, so I put it to sleep and easily took it out. For Dragonite, I missed Sleep Powder and it took me out, so I switched to Tangela, but he used Outrage to one-shot it. But now since he was locked, I just switched to Executor to set up the Sun, put him to sleep, and use Dream Eater. And after that, his last 2 Dragonairs were easy one-shots. Again, there's no way I can get the footage back, and I'm really angry at myself for not paying attention, but the only thing I can really do is move on. Alright, so I actually have footage for the champion fight. I lead with Venusaur again to put Pidgeot to sleep and then use Leech Seed. I switch to Exeggutor to set up Sunny Day and use Dream Eater to take it out, but unfortunately he sends out Gyarados, so I have to put it to sleep, use Solar Beam to run out Sunny Day, set it up again, and then take it out. And now he finally sends out Charizard. I still outspeed thanks to Chlorophyll and I put it to sleep. I use Dream Eater and it's doing just about half, but he has a Citrus Berry. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Well, the sun's still up, so I just put him to sleep again and repeat the process. Fourth is Alakazam, and Solar Beam is just barely not one-shotting it, and I'm scared that he'll one-shot Victory Bell if I switch to it, so I decided to just keep spamming Solar Beam, and I eventually get a crit to take it out. Rhydon is then obviously an easy one-shot with Solar Beam, and finally we have his own Exeggutor. He unfortunately puts me to sleep as I set up the sun, so I switch to Parasect to use Aromatherapy to heal it, and then I go back and put it to sleep. Right after that, I do the genius play of trying to use Leech Seed on a grass type. Yeah, I was pretty brain dead at this point. I switch to Victory Bell, put him to sleep one more time, and then finally finish this awful battle with 3 returns. And that's it. I beat a Pokemon LeafGreen Hardcore Nuzlocke using only grass types. That was definitely a pretty scary challenge, but the abundance of status moves to cripple the opponent really carried me throughout the run. I think this could have definitely been a deathless run had I not switched to Tangela during that Lance fight. Speaking of which, I'm still pretty annoyed that I overwrote the video file. If you're wondering how I lost it, the emulator that I use for Gens 1 to 3, MGBA, has a built-in recording feature where you select the video destination and file name. I use a different video name for each file so that I can sort them out more easily during the editing, and for the champion fight, I forgot to change the name, so I was recording the champion fight using the Lance video name, so it overwrote. It sucks, but I can't really do much about it. Anyway, if you enjoyed, make sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all later.